Good morning, folks. It's a beautiful day today. It's February something, 12th or 11th, I believe. Temperature is pretty good. I'm gonna go for a ride today, but before we go for a ride, we have to do some maintenance on my trikes. I need to do the chain and lube, clean the chain and lube the Terra Trike. I was checking my pre-flighting my Sunseeker Fat Tad and noted that the chain is filthy, and I've only done 30 something miles with 2 or 3 desert rides. So that chain is picking up a lot of sand and a lot of grime off the trail. So I'm just telling you, if you live in a desert environment like I do and you're riding your Fat Tad off the road, you're gonna have to do maintenance more often. While checking my chain, I had to set my rear derailleur because it was noisy on my last ride. I talked about it. So I was checking it out. I got that adjusted just by putting more tension on the cable, which you need to learn how to do if you don't know how to set up your derailleurs, because it's a constant thing. Setting your brakes, setting your derailleurs, it's the cable stretch. You'll be taking it to the bike shop a lot if you ride a lot. You probably need to learn how to do some of these. It's not hard to do. You can figure it out. There's tons of videos from Laid Back Cycles, Utah Trike, everybody, Terra Trike puts them out, everybody puts them out, videos on how to do maintenance. But I noted something about my Fat Tad that I need to do some research on. I started last night checking on YouTube, and I'm gonna get a hold of electrotrike.com to find out why the idler on the Fat Tad is rubbing, the two chains are rubbing together on the return and the service direction on the chain. The chain is actually hitting itself on the return back to the, as it passes the idler. So if you have a Fat Tad, you have an idler. It's where I'll show you a picture of it here in a minute, a video, and I'll show you what it's doing. It's actually, the chain is chafing against itself. That can't be right. I find nothing on YouTube talking about it. So I'm gonna get a hold of electrotrike.com and find out from their tech if that's normal. What I plan to do is my own modification is put a couple of washers to put a gap into the 2 idler gears that do that for you, to separate that a little bit and then see how that works, and then let you know if that's a fix for it. But right now I can tell you that chafing on a chain is not a good thing, because what that'll do is create premature failure. So let's get started on cleaning the Terra Trike chain, and I'll go through that with you real quick, and then we'll get over to the and do the same on the Sunseeker Fat Tad, because it needs cleaned already. I just got it. I've had it about a month. I'm really surprised how dirty the chain got, how fast. But you can't have that either. You got to clean your chain. So let's do both, and then let's start checking out how I'm going to fix that chafing problem on the Sunseeker. So let's get started, and then we'll go for a ride. Boy, the doves are talking this morning. They talk every morning. This year round, the doves are going crazy down here. You got to have some grubbies on, because this is a dirty job. If you looked at my old videos, I made a stand to do maintenance stand for doing the chains on these Terra Trike. Showing you how I did that. You can go back and find that in my content. Just look up Terra Trike New Mexico Smitty, and you'll find all my videos. Subscribe, and then you can find them all. But there's a ton of maintenance videos that I've done on the Terra Trike, 6, 7 months, 8 months that I've owned her. So let's get started with that. But gotta put some dirty grubbies on and some tennis shoes that you don't mind getting oil on, because you will get oil on them. And anyway, let's get started. Anyway, folks, I made this stand early on out of pallet wood, simply constructed. You can see how it's made. I painted it to keep the oil off of it. because it will get oil on it, and it's got dirt on it right now. Made it like this, just cut it all out with wood and sanded it down so there's nothing that can get my hands splintered. There's a few I might need to work on some more, but anyway, it was a simple mod that I made out of an old pallet. You can make one. You can buy them if you want to spend money. I just make my own. Anyway, you're going to need some kind of stand to lift that rear wheel off the ground to clean the chain. Want to get you a bucket to sit on, or a maintenance stool. And what we need to do is take our stand that I made, take up the rear of the bike, make sure it's free, and you can see that it lifts the wheel off the ground, and it allows me to turn the chain so you can clean it. I don't recommend sitting inside the trike when it's on the stand, because on your electric trikes, you're going to have the hub motor cabling and your derailleur cable coming up in underneath this frame, and it's actually going to sit on that a little bit. You're okay if you're not sitting in it, but if you sit in that thing, you're going to put a lot of pressure on that. What you have here is I bought a kit off of Amazon. It's called the Ultra Flash. Comes with the cleaning box. This simply you pull forward and up, and the system separates. You fill it up to the level that it dictates for the fluid. Right over here, you can't see it, I know, but you fill it up to here with your degreaser, which I'll show you, which I like to use. And then you push it back in there, and then push it back, and it locks. When I went to my local trike shop, this is what they use. It's Finish Line Citrus Bicycle Clean Degreaser chain for your chain. It's we used a lot of this citrus in the Air Force, try to go environmental friendly. It's still pretty strong. We have a level line here showing you how much you need to put in here. So you just pour your liquid in there up to the line. And put the chain on there. There's a little gear in there. Slide that on there like that, and it locks into place. That gives you something to hold on to. There's two ways to do this. Have somebody turn the front for you and you hold it. If you don't have two people, you're going to have to do it this way. You're going to have to watch your fingers. You just need to run that chain through that solution. Just keep running it through there. Okay, now that you got that done, I'm going to pull this apart. There's a locking tab here. Take that off. Slide this back. How this works is there's some little brushes in there, and the chain runs right through there and it scrubs that off. There's some brushes back here too, but that's some filthy liquid in there. I don't know if you can see it. Now we're going to move on to the cleaning of the gear set on the back.
Code blue.
Calling Dr. Smitty. Calling Dr. Smitty. Please report to the ER for bike trike maintenance session. Chain lubing. Dr. Feelgoods.
Security to the
So what we're going to do is put our rag down here, our rags. Try to get,
all nurses.
and we're going to spray this, change that down, this gear set back here, right here, like this. They send you a brush with this kit. I'm going to get in here in between the gear set, go ahead and start cleaning out. Go in between each gear, just like that. And do is start cleaning the tire off out here first. Okay, one thing you're going to want to do is to clean the tube. To clean the tube, you need to get you a cloth. Just using this old shop towel. I'm going to cut some swatches out of this thing. So like that. Going to make a couple of them. And I'm going to thread this through a chain link. I'll show you. And then we're going to run it through the tube back and forth to get the grime out of the tube. Because clean your chain, you leave grime in your tube, it's going to get, it'll pack up after a while. So you need to do that maintenance. Get it like that. Want it in there pretty tight, because if not, it ain't going to work. If I can do this and keep from hitting my... And wait for it to go out the back of the tube, and then you bring it back through. We watch it out the back of the tube. When it pops out the back, you bring it back. Go back and forth. That's how you clean your tube. And this is a good time to check your chain, because it's easy here. You can see everything. It's out in the open. Finish cleaning up your chain. Just go through and inspect it. You're looking for where... I kid you not, I was working in there on these trikes this last summer, and I saw something out of the corner of my eye, just kind of glanced, moving. I thought it was a mouse. It was a tarantula about this big, sitting right behind me, just lumbering along. Scared the bejesus out of me. It wouldn't have hurt me, I don't think, but I helped him outside, and big old Mexican tarantula. Big old sucker. I think it was a female, because I don't think the males get that big. Oh, man. Scared the heck out of me. Anyway, we want to clean this up. Now I want to look around behind me to see if there's any tarantulas or roadrunners attacking me from behind. You see that video where the roadrunners running around but raising Cain? And all the doves were raising Cain, trying to let me know. Or no, it wasn't a dove. It was some kind of bird from Central America that flies up here. Was raising Cain, letting me know that predator roadrunner was in the area. It was warning everybody. We made a short on that one. Roadrunner was running around behind me, and the local crow or whatever it was squawking away in the background. It's a roadrunner! Everybody run for the hills! It was funny. I'm sure it wasn't funny to those blackbirds that fly up here, migrate up here. They don't like roadrunners, because those roadrunners are fierce, man. They're major predators down here. That's a bird of prey. That's our state bird. Looks like a dinosaur running around out here. They act like dinosaurs. I think that's the way, I always picture that's the way a dinosaur would act. Anyway, we want to clean this all up. Clean all that gear off. And just keep doing it. Take your time. Put on some music. I'd put on music now for you because I love music. I'm a good old country boy, early rock and roll, 1970s, 80s rock and roll. But I love country. Anyway, I'd put that on, but I'd probably get hit with copyright. Anyway, that's the way I do it. Sure, it's wrong. Somebody will tell me, you're doing that wrong. Look at what you did. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Sure, buddy. If I'm doing it wrong, you can tell me. I can take criticism. I'm sure there's a wealth of knowledge out there. There's always somebody out there that knows something more than I do. Guarantee you that. I don't know, I just wrote down stuff and inspect. You would not believe what you will find if you get in the habit of checking stuff. Go around and what I call QC, just check for loose stuff. Grab a hold of a bolt, twist on it, move it. If it moves, it's loose. Check everything. Look for loose stuff, broken wires, chafing. Chafing is how I found that chain on that Sunseeker ain't right. Chafing's not good. That'll bring aircraft out of the air. That'll sink ships and crash airplanes and make your car quit running. Chafing's a big deal. That's what you want to be looking for. Loose stuff rubbing on each other. That ain't right. You don't want that. I guarantee you that ain't right. Okay, when you do your chain tubes, you have two of them, an upper and lower. I just did the lower. I'm not going to film me doing the top one, but I got to do the top one. Last week when I was doing a ride, or earlier this week actually, I was doing a ride. I did a pre-flight on my trike. Pre-flight means you're checking for things that are loose. Tire inflation. I noticed a little bit of a rattle at the back of my trike when I was riding earlier week or last week. And what ended up happening, these seat recliner system here, these bolts were loose on both sides, and they were a little bit loose here where they attach to the trike. So I went ahead and went in and tightened these up on all of them, and they were all kind of loose, not real bad, but loose enough. So doing a pre-flight and checking your bolts and stuff is important because you will find stuff. Listen to your trike. If you hear a rattle, something new, start looking for where the sound's coming from. You might have something loose. And anyway, just word to the wise. Learn as we go. The bike shop recommended that I use a common brand you're familiar with in the desert region because this repels dirt in dry and dusty conditions. It is a bike dry chain lube. And I need that down here because, man, these deserts kick up sand, fine sand, and these chains pick it up. Even the Terra Trike, which I don't ride on dirt much, very little if any. I think I rode the most I ever rode was when I filmed City of Rocks and rode that dirt road all day. And I did pick up a lot of dirt. So, but I noticed that this improved my chains on how long and how well they stay clean. So this is what I'm using. So the way you use this is simple. Find a starting point on your chain, and a little dab will do you on every point. So let's go through that together. So we just put a dab on every one, just to the inside. You don't lube the outside of the chain. You just put a dab on every point. You don't have to squeeze it. You just tap the bottle and it'll drip. Okay, what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and go through all of our gears and get that lube moved around. I've lubed the chain, lube this a little bit, check everything, check down in here. Let's go through the numbers. So I think that's pretty much it on the lubing up the chain of the Terra Trike. Looks good, clean. You want to inspect your chain. They say about every 200, 250 miles. If you're living in the desert like I am, you're going to have to do it a little more often. That's too long. But the way you know is you just check it. And if it's dirty, clean it. If you don't clean it, you're going to prematurely wear your chain and you're going to be putting new chains on. It gets pricey. A bee just flew over here and said hello. Anyway, I'm gonna do the Sunseeker Fat Tad now. I'm not gonna film that. It's the same process. But what I am gonna show you before I get started is what I see as a problem with that Sunseeker that I've got to remedy. Look at this problem I've identified, and I got to come up with a remedy. Maybe I'll do this for us and then let you know, show you what I'm gonna do. I mean, look how close the chain is right here. That's hitting. This idler arm up here, idler, they float. Both of them float on this shaft. But when I see it, and I hear the chain clacking sometimes, and to me, they're too close. They're slamming into each other, and I can see the wear on this chain. So what I'm thinking is, I pull this apart, take this off, take the shaft off, and put a couple of flat washers in there in between the two idler pulleys. They float around on here. And give it some space, like about that much right there, by putting two flat washers right in here and separate these chains a little bit. And they're dirty. I don't want to go too far, but why can't it go that far? Anyway, you're supposed to lube in here too, especially if it's squeaking. Man, that chain got dirty fast. I can feel the sand on it. Just full of sand. Dirty, dirty. I gotta clean all this. Anyway, that's that. That's what I'm dealing with. All right, let's pull this pulley apart, this idler pulley. It's a number 4. That was kind of loose. That was a little loose. Got to go behind it and put the number 4 millimeter Allen wrench on the back to hold this, and then you can turn this out. So the outer goes over and the inner goes under. Outer over. This is on there. Pretty dirty already. You can make your own spacer by drilling out a nut with the appropriate drill bit. That way this shaft will fit through there. Make it pretty snug, but not so snug that it won't slip back and forth. I made it out of a nut. All right, these are numbered. Number 2, and the other one's number 1. Number 2 goes to the inside. And number 1 goes to the outside. Lube these things up a little bit. Lube the shaft up. Screw it back together. Let's see how this works. Heck, your guess is as good as mine. An Allen wrench on number 4 Allen wrench, millimeter on the back. It's screwing into this shaft. I use a wrench as a cheater bar over the end of the millimeter wrench because it has to go way down in the body there, and I put Loctite on it, so as always, don't over tighten it. Now there's a permanent gap in between these. I put it at about 1/4 of an inch. See how that works. If it's too wide, then I'll make it less. I didn't change anything because all this stuff floats beyond that tolerance, so I can't see how making this gap bigger is gonna violate the laws of physics. So that's number 2 goes in the back. It's got the wider kind of in the center of the cog. There's a raised groove. The thinner ones on the outside, it's labeled number 1, enters number 2, and that's all she wrote. And then you just screw this back in there. Well, it's 12 hours later. I tried to finish last night. I did finish, but I didn't have time to go for my ride. My son had a basketball game last night, so I had to take off. It's all done. The mod's done. Let's go take a look at it. You can see, put that nut in there, and now I got about quite a bit of gap here that I didn't have before, and it gives room for the chain to flex without slamming into each other. Remember when I first started, they were real tight together, and I'd look back here with my camera when I was off-road, and this chain was slamming into itself constantly, and it was making a noise, clack, 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 clack. Well, now with this spacer that I made, let's see if I can get in there. You can see where it's at in here. It all moves freely back and forth. You want to lube this area. I think this is going to work. I'm going to go for a test ride now and see how it looks and how it does. So let's go for a ride. All right, let's start this bad boy up. Got a little over 42 miles on this bad boy. Already had to clean the chain. 40 miles on it. Let's see. We'll level this at 1. Set my mirrors. Check my bell. Well, folks, I think the mod was a success. I will be updating you on how it performs. I will be putting a permanent bushing in place of that nut that I made. That nut is just a prototype to see if it would work. It's working. It's going to work fine. The chain's not slapping itself anymore. It's not chafing any longer, so I'm going to call this mod good so far. Of course, if something changes, I'll let you know, but I will contact the manufacturer, Sunseeker. It's not electrictrike.com that this issue's with. It's with the manufacturer of the trike. I'm not saying it's an issue yet, but it would be. I'm saying that it needs to be engineered a little better. It would be a simple fix on those pulleys, on those idler pulleys. All they have to do is extend the width of the back of the boss a little bit, or extend the bearing that's inside by 1/8 of an inch on each one, which would give the total distance that they need to keep those chains from slapping into each other. It's nominal cost on their part. I am going to upgrade to the Utah Trike aluminum idler pulley system that they've got. It's about $100 or something like that if they got them in stock, because these are plastic and they are known to fail with electric assist. I will upgrade to that, and I'll probably do a video on how to do that. Anyway, I hope you like my video content, my mods, my trips that I'm taking, and I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, subscribe. I appreciate it very much. I'll continue to make these as long as you guys like them. Anyway, have a nice day. Enjoy your ride.